3, 2, 1, go. Welcome to Grounds After Rounds.
You ready?
Ready.
I'm going to count it in this time.
Okay. 3,
5, 4.
Welcome to Grounds After Rounds. Rounds after rounds.
I did so well and then you screwed it
did.
up. I'm sweating. I worked at that so hard.
Is that what it was?
I'm so out of breath. Before I counted
Have a
it
sip
in
of water.
without mouthing it or moving my head. The people who only listen to this and don't watch it on YouTube are definitely missing a component at the beginning of that to like
I can imagine like if I drive up next to someone from the gym and I see him like this, that means they're probably listening to the podcast right now.
Or they're trying to think about their taxes.
Yes.
Actually, that's what Nicole makes fun of me sometimes. If I'm like really thinking hard or like reading or something, and especially if I have my headphones in.
Oh,
she's like, hey, I'm getting lightheaded. You're using all of the air in the room. Save some for the rest of us.
I do the same thing when I'm really just like zoned in. I just breathe. Whenever I go see a movie with my brother, and he just goes, "You're breathing heavy again." Like, whatever, it's an action movie. You won't even be able to hear it.
I'm really concentrating.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I saw Suicide Squad last night.
I can't believe I didn't text you. I had like 6 texts written to you to talk about it.
Yeah.
I watched it as well. I'll go first because I know where you land on it. I'm sure. Okay, I liked it.
Yeah.
I actually thought it was for what it said it was going to do in the beginning and stuff, and the fact that it starts the way it does, and then you get the flashback and stuff, like really well structured and kind of cool. I never saw the first one, but I did read about that this wasn't a sequel or whatever, it was a reboot. And I like that idea of like
between that and even if you didn't see Birds of Prey, like neither of them.
So where I, as a audience consumer of this type of, I appreciated it. I watched the whole thing. It was relatively enjoyable. It's a little too comic booky for me.
Comic booky.
In the sense that like it is a little kitschy, not kitschy, it's a little like corny, funny, but so are comic books. The jokes are sort of and then it's like overly gruesome.
Yeah. And
then it's sort of like cartoony and stuff. And in my head, I'm like, it's based on a comic book.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I
dumbass.
feel like.
And so all of that said, it was pretty cool in like the treatment of these characters. They were exploiting them. Yeah. And like the government and sort of commentary on the US government's blatant disregard for,
a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that was really well done.
Yeah.
So it immediately tripped over into, this is really good. And it's really good from like a really good sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
That is like, aliens would never act like it. It's like, no. They're using that medium to make some didactic commentary on things, and they're hiding it well in this sort of, right? Like there's that comment by the big starfish thing.
Yeah.
I was happy floating in space,
looking at the stars. Yeah.
Like, So I give it, if I'm giving it like I give it a thumbs up, not 2 thumbs up. I give it like a 4 out of 5 stars. Yeah. If I was a comic book fan, 5 stars all the way, but I highly recommend it.
It's funny. I feel like,
thank you for letting me
I love it. Yeah. And I like, you're right. Like it was totally, you got to go into it knowing that's like, it's a comic book. Like it is I love Deadpool broke the barrier and saying you can make a rated R superhero movie.
Yeah.
But also
similar to Deadpool.
Yeah. Like it's, cause these guys, like, they're not superheroes. Like, they are, they're in jail for a reason. Like
they're mutant and they have special abilities.
DC, it's metahuman.
Okay, they're metahuman.
They're not allowed to use the word mutant.
God, they're metahuman and they're they have special powers things, but yeah, they're effed up people.
Yeah.
They're like, which would make sense.
Which I feel like DC is like, after watching Snyder Cut and then watch this too, they're kind of diving deeper into like, these are, and I feel like that's even was like where Zack Snyder went. If you ever saw Watchmen, like these are not like clean cut, flawless like human beings. Like they've got some legit baggage. And so I don't know. I'm with you. It was way more gory than I expected it to be, but not like I remember I saw Hills Have Eyes. The only movie I've ever walked out of was Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah.
Now that's a horror movie. It's meant to be gory, but I remember watching that. I was like, this is just, I don't even know what's going on. This is just gratuitous.
I cannot finish. Yeah, I cannot finish this horrible dessert. I'm walking out.
Yeah. And so it was fun. I love Idris Elba. He's
awesome.
So good.
Cena actually.
John Cena.
So that's the thing I think too, is like the ridiculousness of their costumes.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm like, would they really wear that?
Right. Like like John Cena's like toilet bowl helmet, his like Under Armour, like flex fit, and then cargo pants.
But
right?
that's but in a sense, like it's sort of like they made their own costumes in their basement.
100%.
And so it felt, it kind of like rounds out so you have Marvel, which they try very hard to stay unified to like, it could happen. Yeah. Right. Like feasibly this. Yeah. So it's the Newtonian and Einstein laws of physics apply and stuff where, DC just is like, nope. We're going to do whatever we want. Yeah. Like the reality does not matter. Right. And then sort of
anything Harley Quinn runs away from.
And then sort of, but again, so when she's in that fight scene and everything's flowers and birds. Yeah. Obviously that is a meta commentary on what she is seeing. Yeah. That's all blood. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, and it's very apparent and it's really well done. Yeah. And so it's like, oh, she's a psycho. Yeah. Like, oh, okay. I get it. Like, this is what schizophrenia would look like in a synesthetic sort of like synesthesia, when you have your different senses, like you can taste colors, days of the week, have a smell, like those sorts of things.
It's Harley.
Exactly. And so, that's what it would look like cinemagraphically, or in a cinematograph. Yes, that is it.
That's what the key grips are for.
Cinnamon?
Cinnamon.
I could go for a cinnamon latte right now. So it was enjoyable. I will say, and it rounds out, I was gonna say, The Boys on Amazon Prime. Very sort of like, like sort of in between the two. Yeah. Do you know? And so
I've never watched it, but
you would really like it. I don't know the background of the comic, but
of The Boys.
It's Seth Rogen and his team are the engine behind it.
Got it.
It's sort of like these are three different positions on the adaptation of these comic books into a movie or a TV, the film industry. Right. I'm loving it. I think it was awesome. My final thing on it. Oh my God. HBO Max. So worth the money, folks. Yeah. I sent this text to somebody. I said, it's the Ritz-Carlton to the Netflix Best Western / Days Inn. Gotcha. Right. Where those streaming services are great. There's a bed, there's a shitter, there's a shower. like it gets the job done. You may even get free Wi-Fi and a breakfast for free in the morning. But there's just something to that deep soaking tub and the 1,000 thread cotton sheets, Egyptian cotton sheets, and the Ritz-Carlton. It's just so worth it. Yeah. Like HBO Max, all the rest of them, what, $9, $10, $12. HBO Max, I think it's like 14 a month, like 15 a month. Not even that. So worth it.
HBO Max worth it.
I mean, I'm more or less on there now 90% of the time watching stuff. And they've got some great series. Yeah. Some that are kind of
series, and then movies, and then that Suicide Squad dropped on HBO Max when it dropped in theaters. And I knew I was like, this is one I want to go see in theaters. Like, there's movies that I'm not going to watch on HBO Max just for the sake of going to the movies. So
you went and saw it in the theater.
I went and saw it in the theater. Yeah,
good choice. That was pretty cool when they fight the eyeball. Like, that's so
good.
Cool.
So good. But yeah, that movie was a lot of fun. Don't take your kids.
No, unless they're 15, 17. The boys and I watched it together, which was kind of cool. Though they both, Matt and Josh, were kind of like, I'm bored. So And I
But
think it's just a, if we'd seen it in the theater, it would have kept their interest, but they have their phone available. We're sitting there in the living room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I will say they said like I remember James Gunn said it from the get-go. It's like, don't get too attached to these characters.
Yeah, that
Don't
was a
get
big
attached.
move. Like, wow, all right. Hey.
There was some too. I was like, there was some I remember watching. I was like, okay, there's no way that they last. But then there were a couple. I was like, oh wow, okay,
committed.
All right, okay, wow. So that was cool. I enjoyed it.
But hopefully, folks, you did not tune in to Grounds After Rounds this week for a comic book movie review. If you did, well, you're welcome.
Second best hour of your day.
Yeah. If not, and you came to hear about CrossFit and Fairwinds CrossFit and what we're doing here at Fairwinds CrossFit, then you came to the right channel.
Cool.
Podcast.
Fast forward to 12 minutes in.
Yeah. So.
Or you're already here. Just keep listening.
You take it. It's your
cool.
It's your idea.
So fun idea. If you follow Jason Ackerman on the Instagrams, Jason Ackerman, co-host of Best Hour of the Day podcast, also Best Hour of the Day like programming and Affiliate U, along with Jason Fernandez, has owned several affiliates. Is a level. He's a flow master. Is he a flow master?
How do you not know? He's a level 4 coach.
He's a level. I know he's level 4, but he's a level 4 coach. But also, I'm pretty sure he runs seminars. He's seminar staff.
And don't worry, if you didn't know that, he'll tell you in 5
you.
minutes of talking.
Between him,
just kidding. Sorry, Jason. I mean, that's Ackerman, who I don't know.
Ackerman's level 4 coach, and Fernandez, I think, played Division I basketball. I don't remember. One of those two. But
it is actually one of the
other way around.
endearing. It's one of the more. No, that's definitely not confusable. It's one of the more endearing elements of their banter back and forth. So they are. They're
great. They're a great team. But
Katie, the new, she's a good addition to the show. It offers a little what's not moosh boosh, which is the pounds cleansing course, and like a 7-course meal. Right. You always have sort of like a in between a sherbet or like a something, something that cleanses the palate. She's a good palate cleanser of their sweet and sour, or salty, and
kind of balances it out. Yeah.
And I'm not saying which one of you is sweet or sour.
I haven't tasted it. I'm not sure. On Instagram at Coach Jason Ackerman. But he's been doing this thing over the last few weeks where he has this basically little whiteboard app on what looks like his iPad, and he just writes something on it and takes a picture of him holding it up to his screen. So it's a lot of him just holding up these. It's very CrossFitter with sign. But this is Ackerman with iPad. And some of the stuff he puts, it's like he's a whip or ape. It just be ape, AIP. Ackerman with sign. Ackerman with iPad. App. Oh wait. No, AWIP or just AIP. Or AWP. Ackerman iPad. Ackerman with iPad. You put letters for all of them. I like AWhip. AWhip. Yeah. You're saying whip? No, whip. So anyway, he puts these up, and I read them, and some of them are like, oof, okay. And then some of them are like, it's a little aggressive. Okay. And then some are like, But we were talking about this before the show. He's such a great interviewer. He asks really great questions, and he's also just 100% like, what you get. Yep. With Jason Ackerman. And so sometimes authentic. Yeah. And you may not want to hear what it is that he has to say, but you need to hear it. And he doesn't care if he ruffles some feathers. I don't know. I don't want to say he doesn't care. Yeah. I think he intentionally ruffles the feathers to get you thinking. There's an irreverent compassion there we go. Like, or a compassionate irreverence to how he approaches stuff. Yeah. In that he tells you the way it is, where Fern's style is a little bit more in line with like mine, where it's like, you've been through enough training environments and, workups in the Navy, like some Master Chief, Senior Chief somewhere will tell you like, and this is extremely aggressive, trigger warning, a little misogynistic. So close your ears, kids, if you're a little sensitive. Right. But I've had somebody say this to me, hey, look, if we were in the dick sucking business, we'd all have smiles on our faces. That's not what we're here for. No. We're here to make ourselves better. So I'm not going to waste my time telling y'all what you did well. We're going to deal with what you did badly. And that
like, I remember,
It's a good visual.
Yeah,
now
like,
it's stuck in there.
yeah. And so that's the school of development that he and I share in our backgrounds.
That makes sense.
So I hear in him a lot of times the same style. For me, I go too far. I think Fern reins it in a little bit better. Ackerman comes from a totally different place, and I really do like the way he approaches stuff, that he's unapologetically honest about what he's seeing.
Yeah.
And that's a rarity sometimes, that you like, and it's not that he is completely oblivious to hurting somebody's feelings. It's never the intention. If your feelings get hurt, I feel like it's sometimes like, well, is that because it's honest?
Right.
Or did I actually, he never says anything cruelly.
Yeah.
It's just, hey, this is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
That's what I read in a lot of these.
It's one of those, like, absolutely. I think you're 100% right. Like, if someone
Eric's
feels
phone, he has all the pictures of Ackerman's.
I think you're absolutely
posts.
right. Like, if you're just like, oh, I don't feel good about that, probably because, like, it might be true, it might be you know what I mean? And so, and like you said, when I think there are things that he says that you're just like, oh, that was a little, you like said, brash,
douchey, or
but
man, that's what's wrong with CrossFit.
Like, but I feel like his style is, but I got you thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
And so what's
conversation starter, and that's what it comes back to. And so what we thought was we would kind of in the school of, like,
let's say this one, pay your coaches. Overrated. Sorry. Nope.
In the tradition of sort of like philosophical discourse, for the longest time, philosophers would write something, like would write a treatise or a paper or an essay, and the school of that tradition of philosophy is that paper is blowing up a philosopher who had come before them and a paper that they had written. And so the first part of that paper is the philosopher, your contemporary, the person writing it now, is saying why the person who came before them is all wrong. But then they make these like horrible, like, just what? Like, claims, almost in an attempt for the people who come after them to blow them up.
That makes sense.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's sort of this like self-licking ice cream cone of a academic tradition of philosophy, is like, you just make outlandish claims so the person who comes next has something else to write about. And at no point is anybody actually like going it. They just write, there's just this circular, like, blowing each other up.
That makes sense.
And it's awesome. And it's great, and it's super fun.
It keeps it rolling.
So that's sort of what I felt like these were, is because it got us talking.
Yeah.
So what we thought we would do is we're going to look at one. We're each going to kind of be like, where it lands for us, what we think it's being said. We could almost even like, do we like it? Do we dislike it? If we like it, why? If we dislike it, why? What did it make us think about? Did we learn something about it? And then what we're going to do is we're going to pull up the post and look at what Ackerman did, because I said these pictures should be able to stand by themselves.
Yeah.
We shouldn't need an explanation, but it would be great to have the context. And then in a sense, we're kind of in conversation with Ackerman through this. And that's, we're extending the conversation that he gracefully started for us. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, cool. So feel free to follow along. Go to @jasonackerman.com. We picked a few Jason Ackerman on Instagram. And then, so I'll go through those. And then, like I said, you can probably scroll and just find them and read along. So I'll start first one. How you do movement is how you do any movement. So we'll start that.
How you do one movement. How you do.
How you do one movement is how you do any movement.
Softball, right? Yeah. Like, of course, right? It's sort of the same. I mean, there are so many things that extrapolates to. Yeah. How you make your bed is how you're gonna, live your life type of thing. Like, you could. So yes, I totally agree. And again, it's a conversation starter.
You practice how you play.
Yeah, sort of. Exactly. Yeah. It's a restatement of that old adage. Perfect practice makes perfect, not practice makes perfect. Like that, all of that stuff. Where I think that would be different or out of context is if you have somebody who's injured. Right. Or an adaptive athlete, and in this sense, context matters. But at heart of it, if I let, in a sense, like as a coach, I take away from that, if I let somebody get away with a shallow squat, I'm probably going to let them get away with an early pull. I'm probably going to let them get away with an early push on a push press. I'm probably going to let them get away with shitty wall balls. Next thing you know, they're going to have back issues. I'm going to let them round their back when they deadlift. So in a sense, again, as you stated, these feel like they're more commentary to coaches than to athletes.
Yeah.
So are we letting our athletes get away with poor movement and doing them a disservice? Therefore, in the end, not getting the improvement that they probably want, but don't know that they want, and thus allowing them to plateau and then eventually fade away. And I could fix all of that by making them slow down in the air squat and get depth.
Yeah.
Stop rounding their back, stop getting the butt wink, slower. And it takes 25, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
We did 40 air squats with that plate this morning in the warm-up. There were 7 people in that 6 a.m. class. So Shelly had 6 times 40 on average, had 240 reps of squats with that plate to take, if it's 5 reps per person, 5 times 6, 30, 1/8 of the squats she had available to her to slow somebody down and fix. And so from a coaching standpoint, not a critique on Shelly because she's not here, but I would say, and I did the same thing, I had just as many. I only maybe corrected 3 people's squats in a class of 7. I should have corrected all 7. I should have taken a lot more time with those squats, because guess what? We were squat snatching. The squat is kind of foundational in the squat snatch.
Kind of needs to be there.
Missed opportunity. Bam. So his comment is spot on, because I guarantee you the people that did not correct their squat had probably more issues in their squat snatch than they had to.
Yeah. There you go.
So I love that one.
Yeah.
And that's why that's a softball.
Yeah. And this one, I won't wheel it up, but no different to life. How you do one thing is how you do anything.
Look at that.
And so, and then he goes on a little bit, but yeah, that's basically it. Like, if you're going to do it well.
Yeah. Slow down.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. All right. Whoops. Next one. Your coach is not a DJ. This one touched my heart.
It hits right here, folks. It hits right here, because really, like,
that one. I appreciate it's one of my. It's funny. I feel like I don't have a ton of pet peeves. I've definitely gotten more pet peeves since opening an affiliate than I ever had. But it's the I don't mind, like, if you don't like the music, it's totally fine. If you don't like the music that I'm playing,
say something.
Sure. But if I say, okay, what would you like? Anything
I don't care.
This. I don't know. Not this. That's not an answer.
Yeah. Well, then you're gonna get this. This is what you're gonna get.
That's like, hey, honey, what would you like for dinner? Or it's like, hey, I'm making chicken for dinner. I don't want that. All right, what do you want?
Can you pickle these?
I don't care. Just not that.
Can you pickle these? What was it?
Onions.
Pickle the onions.
Pickles and onions. Yeah, it's like, I want chicken for dinner. Well, I don't want chicken. All right, what do you want? I don't know, anything but that. All right, do you want green beans?
Yeah.
Do you want scrambled eggs?
Do
you want pizza?
Broccoli and Brussels sprouts?
Like, just give me an answer. So my focus is not, and Ryan McCanley said it once, he goes, the music ain't for you, the music is for me. And so he's like, so if you're worried about the music, you're worried about the wrong thing in this workout.
So what I would say is, and I think, it's not a DJ. I only have so many energy packets in the class.
Yeah.
I would rather spend the majority of them on getting your movement better.
Yeah.
If you are specifically driven by the music, then here's the deal. We use Spotify, Apple Music, and I have Amazon Music. I can listen to Amazon Music.
Use up SoundCloud.
And SoundCloud. Drop one on SoundCloud. Yeah. Make me a playlist, share it. I'm more than happy to play it for the hour that you are here. 100%.
100%.
Do it.
I will disconnect from the Bluetooth, and the playlist is all.
No, I won't. Send it to me. I will not disconnect my phone from the Bluetooth, because I do not want to play that game, because then next thing you know,
that's true.
Then I got to get you to disconnect after it, and next thing you know what I mean.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Send me the link for the playlist, and it has to be the free Amazon Music, or the one that comes with Amazon Prime, not to pay. What's that like?
So nice, exactly what we're talking about, like the music, like just.
Yeah. but that's the thing.
Music
Like if you
especially.
want to DJ, go to spin class. If you want to DJ, get on Peloton. Like all of those are fine, functional, things. And we saw them during the pandemic. Like, hey, that's what those services provide.
Yeah.
I am an expert in functional movement, and I can see, teach, and correct your movement. Teach, see, and correct your movement. That's what you're paying me for, not to curate an amazing playlist.
And bare minimum, just like if you don't like what I'm playing and I say, all right, what do you want to listen to? Just give me like you can even just say like
country,
80s rock, or just give me an artist. Say I like Billie Eilish.
Yeah, that was good.
Just all right, I'll make a Billie Eilish rate and we're just gonna roll with it. But yeah, it's one of those like just if you're getting like anyway. So Coach is not a DJ. Coach is not a DJ. So
on board with the Ackerman.
That was a good one. All right. If you stop doing CrossFit because you're hurt, you are not a CrossFitter. So this one's tricky.
This is his first one that kind of when I first read it, I was like, yeah, exactly.
You bristled a little bit.
No, not at all.
Okay.
I was actually, totally. Right. Yeah. Like, oh, I hurt my wrist. I'm going to have to take 6 weeks off. Like, what? Huh? You have missed everything we've talked about. Like,
that's from years.
You've hurt this. You still got all of this. Like we could actually just tie your hand to your leg and I'll still come up with something for you to do.
Word.
So I read that and I was like, yeah, exactly. But then I also immediately thought of like a half a dozen people that we are in the service. We are in service of, that we have as Creek people that I feel very much. So here's the deal with that. If somebody has a problem with that or bristles against it, it makes me think of our conversation yesterday with Scott. That's an education.
Jim Lord.
That's an education thing. And that's on us. That is and that's what made me think of like, he in that statement is pushing that down onto the athlete and shaming them a little bit versus no, that's the industry and the individual affiliate owner and the coach's responsibility to educate their athlete of why an injury is not a bad thing. Yeah. They happen. They're always going to happen. The goal is to figure out why did it happen and how do we not let it happen again so that you can continue to return to the field of play and stay on the field of play. Yeah. That's what I think he means by it. But that's one where I feel maybe it's unnecessarily aggressive and might be counterproductive to the intention.
And I'd say this is definitely one where you read it and you're like, he said, you agree with it. And then I'm like, oh, I get it. But also let me read this caption. And
I'm not sure I would deliver it the same way.
So he says, yes, I fully understand that there are injuries that prohibit us from doing CrossFit, but I legit have a friend who came back faster from being paralyzed than some do when they stub their toe. My point is this: as box owners and coaches, we see it often. Quote, I need to freeze my membership because insert minor injury, end quote. This is the exact time when you need CrossFit the most. You heal faster when you move the body. Science. When you work one side of the body, the other gets stronger. Science. People that work out when injured are mentally tougher and better looking. Science. CrossFit is infinitely scalable. Being injured isn't an excuse to take some time off. It should be when you show up and challenge your coach to scale/adapt the workout so you can still be part of the community. If I only trained on the days I woke up and felt great with no minor aches or pains, I would never work out. A little asterisk. I'm also not suggesting CrossFit is what injured you. Maybe it did. It happens to the best of us, but we also live full lives where anything can happen. Such is life.
Exactly. So my addendum to this would be, if a thing you're saying requires that long of an explanation and context, maybe what you're saying isn't as effective as you think it is.
Sure.
So that would be sort of my, I appreciate the sentiment that statement is alluding to, but man, oh man, there might be a better way to get there from there.
If I were having a one-on-one with someone here, for the most part, I would say like, if someone's interested, like, no, don't take time off. Like we can work with this.
Right. But that's not a t-shirt.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's a bad t-shirt because it's the
that's a good, that'll be our
is this a good bad?
Is this a t-shirt?
Good,
right?
bad, ineffective,
Yeah.
or ineffective, effective, or just like cringy t-shirt.
There you go. Perfect. Cool. Next up, scale today, and you have my permission to do whatever you want tomorrow.
I like that t-shirt.
That's a good t-shirt.
And that, you know why? Why I like that is it's playing. I know exactly what he's saying.
Yep.
It's the meet me halfway, right? Try what I'm suggesting, and then we totally will do what you want to do, knowing full well that
let's all do what you want to do.
But knowing full well that that person, when they scale today, will not do what they want to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
They will do what you suggested them to do, because guess what? They are an n equals 1. We're an n equals 1,000 at this point. Soon he's in probably an n equals
a bazillion,
10,000 with
11 billion.
So look, I know your personal experience is your personal experience, and you have to come to that understanding through experiential understanding. I get it. Maybe you should trust that I've seen this 1,000 times, and what I'm suggesting to you is a better starting argument or a better starting place than what you want to do.
Yeah.
What you want to do has gotten you to where you are now, which is broken and out of shape. Maybe if you are paying me to do what I'm suggesting you do, you think about listening
Just
to
kind of roll with it.
So roll with
See
it,
what happens.
and I'll make you a deal. Do what I am suggesting today,
Yeah.
and then we'll totally do what you want to do tomorrow.
Word.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Where was I going? It's funny. He mentioned, and there was one, I don't think I added it, but I thought it was a good one. But he had said at one point, he goes, it's something basically like, I've lied to you about your squat depth before. Right. And it's so true. Like, it's because it's, some days you gotta, this is also going back to the first one we did.
The second we say, good,
right.
I'm lying to you. It's not good.
Yeah.
It's that actually he does one, a person can only take
so much.
They
have a threshold for
yeah. Because that's what we're seeing is if I keep staying on you, you're going to be like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Right. Personal training, totally different. I can totally spend that time, but in a group, like sometimes the person just wants to sweat.
Yeah.
So that is a bad coaching cue when we say, good. We just say, hey, you're working on it. Keep trying.
Yeah.
That's a better, because now I'm not lying to you.
Yeah.
I can see that you're still working on it. I can see that you're trying, but it's not good.
Yeah.
Like you're still not at parallel.
It's better.
Yeah.
Do that again.
And sometimes
do
it's
that
not
better.
even, sometimes it's not even better. Like sometimes when I say like, oh, better, it's not. It's just, I know you need a bone because you're 6 minutes into a 15-minute AMRAP and you're miserable.
Yeah.
So
and that's definitely one of those, like, if we'll look to, as long as you're not, you may not be moving efficiently, and maybe you're not moving to where we need you. Are you moving? Are you unsafe? That's another question. Like if it's unsafe, then to be like, I'm not throwing you that bone. But it's if you're not hitting full depth. But that was kind of but that was a scale today. So it's like I feel like it's almost like a sneaking scale where like, no, you're not going to full depth, but I'll kind of let it slide a little bit.
I like putting those two together. I lied to you about your squat.
Yeah. Cool. All right. That was a good one.
Was our context right? Was that basically what
context. It's okay to compromise with your member. Your goal is to preserve the intended stimulus, but sometimes people just want to check that RX button, and that's okay. Let them sometimes. If it's a workout you really want them to scale and know they should scale, meet them in the middle. If you scale today, I'll give you permission to go RX tomorrow. Oftentimes, that's all they need to hear.
Yeah.
So that's
really, I like that one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
And that's not it's not patronizing. It's not catering to them. It's a meet the person in the middle, like meet them where they need to be.
Yeah. This one's quick. I don't think it needs any context. The perfect amount of Oreos is one more. It's always that. I always think of.
So, all right, put this with the other one.
Oh, the one.
Yeah, juxtapose these, right? So this is that, and this would be a kind of a good game. So like on all of these, if you look at it visually, his face, you can see his face. It's like it's the iPad and his face back here. So it's kind of, and if you're looking at it, my hand is in front of my face, but I can still see my full profile basically.
Yeah.
So he says that, right? The perfect amount of Oreos is one more. Funny. Yes. So true. Like, oh, we're all human together.
I have about 2 or 12.
Exactly. Yeah. Like single serving.
One more sleeve.
Yeah.
One more bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then he throws up.
It was relatively recent, but it was where is it?
You bring cookies?
When you bring cookies to work, you might as well bring cigarettes.
wait a second, right? Like those don't live together.
Yeah.
One is the
Now, fairness, he didn't say bring one more Oreo to work, but there is
one is the I'm human too. I make personal choices. That one is the when as soon as you put on that coach's shirt or open your box or throw a potluck with the Fairwinds name on it, you instantly have to be toe the line.
Yeah.
Pay, you know, we only eat meat, nuts, seeds, you know, vegetables, some blah, 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 blah. I always screw that one up. To me, that feels a little disingenuous, B, a little shamey again. Like you're shaming people who are bringing things that bring each other together with an eye towards, look, there may be people in the affiliate, in the community who are struggling with addiction, food addiction, alcohol addiction, drug addiction, whatever. And you are a safe space and you need to protect that safe space. And so you should have a straight up, no rule, no bending of the rules. We don't bring sugary things into the box. What? Like, it's the same thing of like the no dog rule. Like, I appreciate it. Like, you know, somebody brings a dog and it's distracting. They pee in the corner. Next thing you know, every dog who comes in the box is going to pee in the corner. Maybe somebody's allergic to dogs in the box and he didn't know, and someone brings a dog. So yeah, it's just easier to say, this is what it seems to me. It's just easier to say no dogs. So I don't have to have the one-on-one human conversation. Hey, I really appreciate if you didn't bring your dog.
Right.
You don't control it. He's a little rambunctious and it's really degrading from everybody's experience. So, you know, I love you. I love your dog. I don't love your dog here.
Yeah.
Right. Like that can be. And if you own a place like this, you probably should be willing to have that conversation. Somebody brings cookies to somebody's birthday. You know what? Like, hey, thanks for bringing the cookies.
Yeah.
You know that there are 4 people struggling with some sort of food addiction. Well, then guess what? Have the conversation with the person who brought the cookies and be like, hey, this was awesome. I really appreciate you having the wherewithal to bring this. There are a handful of people that are really struggling. Next time, it would be awesome if we did like bubbly waters and like party hats or something, and you know, blah 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 or whatever. I guarantee you, the person who is bringing the treat is doing it because they want to represent and care for the person. Saying that they're bringing cigarettes, that to me is social shaming, and it is cringeworthy. And that's and it is antithetical to the one more Oreo. We are in the business where there aren't boundaries. We cannot separate effectively. We aren't AT&T, we aren't GE, we aren't Martin Marietta, you know, we aren't a big business. We are a small, family-owned and operated business. And that, you know what I mean? Like, so if somebody sees us eating Oreos and eating one more and expressing the best amount is one more, and then I turn around and say, you bring cookies to work, you might as well have brought cigarettes. Wait, you eat fucking Oreos and you eat a lot of them.
Now, Jack, before you get triggered, just remember this. Not everyone has the self-control you do. Sugar addiction is a real thing. You wouldn't bring someone in a 12-step program to a bar. When you show up at the office, you don't know who struggles with sugar addiction, binging, eating disorders, or any other food issue. I know you're not doing it because you're a malicious asshole. You're trying to be the nice colleague. Stop. No one wants your damn cookies anyway. First of all, that last line.
Not true. False. Totally not true.
Fake news. But he hits right on what you were kind of saying too. It's like some people just don't know. And so me as the coach, me as the owner, me as the athlete, I may not bring the cookies. If a member brings the cookies and there really is that potential issue, then it's a conversation that it's good for us to have and say next time this. So
exactly.
Absolutely right. So
but here, you know, and Joan and I have had this conversation because her cookies are quite possibly the greatest cookies in the world. She brought cupcakes for Steph's birthday today. You know what? Great. It's 3 morning classes back to back that are gonna be able to eat those. Hey, people have that choice. It would be on me to have that conversation with her and to say, this was awesome, but I'm telling you, there are people in the 6, there are people in the 7 who that is like bringing an alcoholic. We don't have that situation. If we do, I have the faith that we have a relationship with the people who come to our gym, that if that is the case, somebody would pull one of us aside and say, hey, that really made me uncomfortable. And I would appreciate if I didn't have to face. I face that every day of my life.
Yeah.
I would appreciate not to have to face it here.
I totally,
And so I would rather put us in a position to have that conversation than just make a blanket rule and be inauthentic and unrepresentative of the way we live our lives.
Yeah.
Does that, you know what I mean? And so
yeah.
I appreciate his context, but I do not like that one, because at heart, it to me feels it's a cop-out. It's a cop-out of like, I don't want to be the leader who has to get messy. So I'm just going to make these easy, hard and fast black and white rules.
Yeah. Sounds familiar. All right. Yeah, that was a good one. And like I said,
it was a really good one.
I like good. Like he puts that too. It's like, hell yeah. Like you really got to think about that one too.
I agree.
He's money. Every member has a threshold. We talked about this a little bit. Every member has a threshold for how much coaching they're receptive to an hour. Absolutely. Plans are useful.
That's why we lie to you.
That's why.
Sorry.
Sometimes we lie. Plans are useless, but planning is everything.
This one hit a little too close to home for me, because I like both of those things.
Yeah, right.
He is so effing right.
Yeah.
And actually, this makes me think of a former commanding officer I worked for, that we don't plan to make plans. We plan to get better at dealing with things that we don't know are going to come.
Word. Yeah.
So it's this idea of, as we get better at planning, we learn how to hit the target more consistently with better precision.
Yeah.
That's all. In the end, the plan don't matter. Yeah. And this is a conversation you and
everyone
I
has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Right. And so it's like, how do you, if you, good. If you've learned how to figure out how you learn, how you operate, right? Like that's sort of so the organization of the gym in the last year is a perfect example of this. For the longest time, we said like, we just need a better layout, blah, blah, blah. And I was always tied on it must be laid out this way. In the end, it does not matter how it's laid out.
Yeah.
It's just, there does need to be
a baseline,
a place. Yeah. And so organically we came to it together, and now it's that, and the final follow through was then, once it's in its places, label it all. It's the old story of the I'm not going to tell, it doesn't matter. It's the college president, the paths, don't pave the path, wait until the kid.
I always thought that was such a good one.
It's a cool metaphorical anecdote of like, oh, right. Like, yes, there will need to be paths, but don't pave something or make a plan before people know like what that plan is going to look like.
Yeah.
Anyway, I really liked that one. It made me think of you. It made me think of me and you. And I think he was spot on with that one.
Yeah. Cool. Okay.
You can cross over.
Shelly,
just don't trip on the wire.
Don't trip.
That would have been funny if you had. And he's just like, well, no, I mean like prep fall.
Oh, prep
like
fall.
yeah.
Really fall.
No, I don't want you to really fall. That's
She would.
lame.
Unless you really fell, I'd be still laughing. I'd make sure she's okay.
We've already seen that video.
Oh my gosh. All right, next one.
What was the context on that one? I'm curious what he says.
Come back.
You are managing this really well.
Oh, thank you.
Because it's like both are pictures, like both are that sort of 3 across.
Yeah.
And so going in between, I would have already.
You know, it's funny. I'm looking for, so I see what he looks like in the background, and then
that's how you
I look
find
for
it.
him. So like he has a shirt on that I don't know what it says, but I bet it says "Trust me, but I'm an asshole." I bet that's what that shirt says. I'm not sure, but that's what so I look for that. So context, I've said it before and I'll say it again. You do not get the privilege of coaching for me if you do not show up with a lesson plan.
Oh, it's lesson plan. Okay.
I mean, it makes sense. It all still falls into it. Yep, 100%. I don't care what programming you follow. I consider all of them 80% complete. Really? You're going to do a run in December in Colorado? Really? You're going to do a bike workout when you have 4 bikes and 20 members in the class? Does your programming know if you need to spend more time teaching handstand push-ups or double unders? The answer is no, no, and no. These programmers also make mistakes. Oh, so we're hitting a 1 rep max back squat, Fran, and a cash out in 60 minutes? Cool
Good
story.
luck.
That's why you always must write a lesson plan. But here's the catch. Even the best laid plans, even the most thought out hour sometimes goes awry. Showing up with a plan is only half the battle, but this is a long one.
Yeah.
Showing up with a plan is only half the battle, but it's half that will help you win regardless of what happens. But when things go off the plan, when your warm-up took 6 minutes longer than expected, what happens? Now what? Your plan isn't and should not be foolproof, but the simple fact that you as a coach cares enough to spend your valuable time writing the plan, the fact that you thought about other people's hour and wrote it down is what matters and what allows you to run a successful class regardless of any factors you didn't account for.
Yeah.
Even the best coaches run over and make mistakes, but the best of the best always show up with a plan.
Yeah.
So,
It's sort of right. And then I come back to bigger, if you look at a bigger, that's the tactical level, the kind of operational level,
right.
Day-to-day running of the gym. Like, yeah, like you need to have, you do it better in the sense of you have a launch pad and a landing pad. And that's, as long as you hit those 2 things, what happens in the middle isn't always as important.
Yeah.
But that's, I try to come back to the middle of like no, it's okay.
Like it's okay to be fluid.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it's okay not to be fluid
right.
too, because I miss things if I'm too fluid. So it's like,
it's one of those,
finding that balance.
Yeah. It's where it's like, whereas I'm more fluid, but I still need that, like, it's like, well, this workout's going to take 20 minutes and
I'll start later.
I spent more times on the handstand push-ups than I intended because I realized people needed that. But now I'm looking like, okay, but we only got 20 minutes to work out and there's like 30 minutes left in class. So it's 100%. Like that plan, whether you're fluid or not, it's there.
Yeah.
Even, and like I said, I've got in the habit, we have the lesson plan on Sugar Wide, but I still write it out every step of the way, even if I don't look at it for the entire class. And I just kind of go, and a lot of times I don't, but just that alone just keeps everything.
I got to get back into it. I'm going to start the days I use the big whiteboard and I write it up. Yeah. John always wants to look at it, which cracks me up. I'm like, dude, you can look at it all you want, but I didn't write it for you.
It's not for
you. So Shelly writes it on the little board, which is better because then nobody gets distracted and feels like they need to look at it.
Yeah.
Well, fun. I had to figure out what works better, because I think people enjoy having it up to be able to look at it, so they don't have to keep asking and looking.
Sure.
So I don't know.
I like doing the timeline too, whereas it helps me, especially in the evenings, because everything's, it's from 0 to 5 minutes for this, 10 to the 20 for this. And it's like, but I'm on the 15. My class starts on the 15. So then I get myself confused.
Oh God.
So I was like, I got to write it out 15 to 20, 15 to 45. Because there's plenty of times I looked at it as like, oh, cool, I've got till,
oh my God, I forgot I started 15 minutes.
Class, shoot. I don't have 45 minutes. I don't have 10 minutes left. I have 40 minutes. So it's, yeah. So cool. Awesome. But yeah, that one works. That plans, it's so many things. Cool. Progression should be like a GPS.
I love this one.
Yeah.
And you have to understand what he's talking about. And also sort of like, if you put the directions in your GPS and all you ever rely on is the GPS, you are going to get lost every single time because they are delayed. They don't always respond. So you need to put the directions in the GPS. You need to look at the whole overview, and then you need to do a final check and be like, okay, this route makes sense to me, so that when the GPS is delayed, when it goes into loading mode, you're not like, well, I mean, it told us to get off on this road, and now it's like, it is a guide, ladies and gentlemen. It is not the end all be all.
Right.
When he said that, I was like, that's what I think he means, that a progression is a path to a final destination. But if you rely solely on the progression, you are going to get lost. You are going to stagnate. You are going to plateau. It is not the final destination. 15 banded pull-ups is not the goal. A pull-up is the goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get off the effing green band.
Yeah.
Do some jumping pull-ups from time to time.
Yeah.
Stop only using the platform pull-up banded, like mix and match. We'll pull out rings. Let's do bent over rows, chainsaws. Like you need to do it all. Maybe we do even push-ups today instead of pull-ups because it's the same mechanics, just in a pushing plane.
Yeah.
But this one, I was like, I totally know what he means. And it's so succinct and it's very clean.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well said, sir.
T-shirt
That's why you're a level 4 coach.
Would it be a popular t-shirt? No. Does it make a good t-shirt?
I don't think anyone would understand it.
No.
I don't, you know what I mean? That's the part. And so it's an education thing. And you heard me, that's my frustration. I shouldn't be, I'm frustrated because I can feel like I continue to fail to reach our audience and educate correctly so people feel comfortable not being tied to a single scale.
Yeah.
And they feel comfortable being collaborative. And I want to try this today. What do you think about that? Do you know what I mean? Like that's when somebody said that, I'd be like, oh, yes, I love that idea.
Well, yeah, I feel like you nailed it. So the progression you use to teach a movement should be just like your favorite GPS app. It gets you to the right place in the fewest steps and via quickest route possible. It doesn't tell you what not to do. It tells you exactly what to do. It doesn't tell you everything at the beginning and front load your directions. Here we go. A solid progression layers the steps on one at a time. Complete one step successfully and then move on to your next. Your progression, much like your GPS, is meant to get you to the final destination. Don't belabor it. Don't spend unnecessary time on each step. Use it to get to the end product, the full movement. Lastly, if you're a CrossFit coach, my opinion is not only should you have a solid progression for every movement, but you should know the L1 CrossFit progressions for the push press, push jerk, sumo deadlift, high pull.
Don't reinvent the wheel.
If you don't, that's a problem. And so I think right there in the middle is exactly what he's saying is like, there are steps. Yes, this is a step you can take. Don't hang out there all day.
Yeah.
Get to that next
But I would
step.
disagree with him in the sense that I think an athlete does need to know what the final destination is and should have a general idea of where each progression falls in that line. Then in the execution of it, that's my job to hold it in my head.
Yeah.
The athlete's job is just to know today's progression and task is this.
Yeah.
That's so
and like you said, your progression is that green band for 15 reps. Well done.
Yeah.
We've got there.
Done.
Let's get to the next.
And we may need to come back to that green band, but that's so again, this is I actually it's a metaphorical conceit. Yeah, your progression is a GPS. It's just a metaphor. But it eventually, depending on how we see GPS as a tool, we could interpret that differently. So he and I, if we were in a real conversation, maybe would disagree or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at heart, I love it. I think he's nailed it. And it's, again, a great conversation starter of, you've been hanging out here with these 2 ab mats for your handstand push-up for 3 years. we need to do something else.
Let's go. Yeah. There you go. Cool. We got like 9 more on here, but we got time for a couple more. What do you think?
Yeah. What's your drop dead? What do we want?
8:45.
All right. Let's
Go
do 2. Let's do no more than 2 more, maybe 1 more. Let's see where it goes.
All right. I like this one just from a coaching perspective. If your coach or trainer can't do a clean with proper hip extension and technique, that's okay. So
yeah. And knowing where he's coming from, not only somebody who does all the level 1s and level 2s, and he now is, in the industry of coaching coaches, has always been in that industry, but so he sees the full spectrum. I mean, God, they just came from the games as judges. So
also, I'll say this one too. I think this one ties into, there's one that he did recently that said, like as a coach, you don't have to have a ring muscle up, but you better be working on it.
Yeah. That's,
right? And it's,
that's where I think it's going. Yeah. And that's the thing. I think that is, as I would default to him and Fern in this case of as a professional in this industry, and as 2 professionals who have significantly more hours and time under tension in watching, not just watching athletes, but watching coaches watch athletes. They can smell, he can probably see faster the coaches who are not working on their movement and are just getting by, and the coaches who are, and therefore in their movement, if it's not perfect, but it gets the point across and gets their athletes moving better, that's always the end goal. And so, like, I think Shelly today in coaching the 6 a.m. is the perfect example. Were her snatches perfect? No, but actually they were really freaking good.
And
Like
they've come a long way.
Her PVC snatches in that demo were actually better than she was doing in the class as an athlete. And I will hit her on this. She was talking while doing the demoing, but she's getting better at it, unfortunately. So she's gonna keep, and I'm guilty of it. I do it too. I'm guilty of it too. That's the part of, like, as a coach, her movement was not only good enough to get the point across, it was pretty damn good and good enough to show an athlete, oh, that's what that's supposed to look like.
Right.
So was her hip extension perfect? No. But so that in that comment, don't get tied to perfection. Always be striving for better.
Yeah.
And that's
do that, but better.
I've heard him say that before. As you said, you brought that other one.
Yeah.
That gets it across.
Yeah.
And it's actually much more caring than sometimes some of these have been. So I really liked that one.
Yeah. 100%. Cool.
Try and find one that's like the complete opposite of that, but yet just as effective. I know it's a tall order, no pun intended, Jason. Sorry, buddy. You don't even know me, but
I don't even know. Like, so I like.
It's so unfair. We feel like we know them.
Yeah.
And I mean, with Fern, like, I do.
You do.
And so, like, he's exactly who he is. But like, Ackerman has no idea who we are, but I feel like I do kind of know him because he is so authentic and genuine on the podcast.
Yeah.
And so, and he's very open and he shares so much of what his life is, but it is a hour-long snapshot, once a week. So it's unrepresentative to say like we know him.
No,
but
but I get a sense of where he likes to.
I think he would have appreciated that.
Yeah. If you can't hold a 5-minute squat, you don't need any other accessory work.
There you go. So as accurate and true, but a little bit more like
that's a tight standard. Like,
and it's a tough pill to swallow for people because, well, I can't, like, my hips are so tight. I need to be like, look, I got one for you. Just hold the squat. Better. Hold it better.
Remember,
better. Deeper.
What was it before the pause back squats last week? Like, at one point it was hold a squat for 45 seconds.
Yeah.
During the warm up.
Yeah.
And just all like fixing, cueing, adjusting, sweating, shaking. Like,
right. You don't need to do, a boatload of couch stretch and pigeon stretch and banded work. If you can't get into the bottom of a squat and hold it for 5 minutes, cool. What we'll do is we'll put you up against a wall or a bar or give you counterweight and you'll hold the bottom of that squat for 5 minutes perfectly. If you do that for 5-6 weeks, and by the time you're done at the end of, I guarantee you, your couch stretch, your pigeon stretch, your banded work will then help build better positioning in the bottom of that squat. But and I think what he's also saying, and we're talking about mobility accessory work. I think what he's talking about is like unilateral, one-legged kettlebell, fill in the blank, lunge, box step ups, landmine, windshield wiper, like like with a dumbbell, and you've got like 19 pieces of gear out. Hey, you know what you guys should get? You should get a reverse hyper machine. So that like, no, we shouldn't.
No,
you should just hold the bottom of the squat for 5 minutes.
So no equipment necessary.
I fully agree. It's actually sort of middle of the road as far as aggressiveness on some of the other ones. But I mean, what's his explanation on
that? There's not too much to add to this. If you can't sit in your squat below parallel for 5 minutes, you don't need to do any additional work. Yes, continue to hit your workout, but you don't need a strength cycle. You don't need more mobility. You don't need to do anything other than sit below parallel. If you can go from not being able to do this to comfortably being in your squat for 5 minutes, you will change your life. that's a bit hyperbolic, but
they were talking about him using that word the other day in one of the episodes. They're like, he's like stuck on it.
But you will definitely be a better athlete.
Yeah.
And
it's true.
It's a basic human function,
Yeah.
right?
And once you can do 5, do 10.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, that was K-Star's, 10-minute squat challenge.
Yeah.
Hold the bottom of the squat for 10 minutes. I still can't do it. I haven't put in the work.
I'll say, I guess we'll do this. If you're sitting there thinking like, I need to sit down the bottom of the squat 5 minutes, absolutely go for it. Maybe start with a couple minutes, maybe start with accumulate 5 minutes.
Yes.
Like if you can't,
but here's the thing too,
minute, but it's
don't just sit. Sorry, don't just sit in the bottom of the squat with your back round and it's fully, no. Full tension.
Yeah.
Everything engaged, chest
heels,
up,
knees
like the
out.
whole thing. Like, yeah, that's.
I'll hit that and I'll rock back and forth a little bit.
Nope, cheating.
But it's like,
like that's that.
Right.
Hold it.
But it's like
statically for 5 minutes in tension.
Yeah.
Like it is way harder than people think. And so I like that he let that speak for itself.
Yeah.
That one feels very genuine, authentic.
Mm-hmm.
It could go on a t-shirt and it wouldn't be too I don't think it's douchey at all, because it's actually very supportive of long-term health and fitness.
It's one of those tough pills to swallow.
Yes.
Like it's you think you need all this, but really you just need this. And the fact that it's that simple can be like, really? Yeah, it is. It's that simple to say. Now do it.
Yeah,
cool. Let's hit one more.
Okay.
Do we want to do this one?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. This is a good one to finish.
Drinking during the WOD. This is the one we first started talking about. Drinking during the WOD is your way of showing the world you are weak. And that smirk on his face is perfect.
It is unnecessary. The showing the world you're weak, it is unnecessarily shamey. It's a little cringy. He's right. You don't need a drink of water in a 12-minute AMRAP.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You don't need to re-chalk your hands when you have 2 muscle ups left or 2 pull-ups left. You know what I mean? Like it is all part of our desire to just rest a little bit longer and distract ourselves and not have to do the next movement and keep moving. It is.
Now, what if I said, but aren't you? It's 95 degrees outside. Aren't you worried about me getting dehydrated?
That you missed that boat 4 hours ago you didn't.
That sip of water is not going to make a difference.
Exactly. Your body's not even going to process that before the time you leave.
Yeah.
And so there is a handful of ways to say that better. I don't know what they are. I just know that that's not a productive development of a relationship, a supportive and caring relationship with a majority of athletes. Mm-hmm. If that has context and you already have a very long standing relationship with an athlete, with a client, and they know what you're saying and they need to hear that tough love, sure. I would never put that on it. I would never wear a t-shirt that says that. Yeah. I have a CrossFit Oahu t-shirt from one of the first time from like 2010. And it's do more, do better, do more, suck less or something. Like and it's the suck less at the end. I remember we were here like a year or two and we were at one of the boys' basketball games, and Kale, I was wearing that shirt and they were like 6 or 7 years old. Kale sees the shirt and she's like, what the fuck are you wearing? Like, that is a horrible shirt. And I was like, oh, what do you mean? And I totally know what she was talking about, because she's not somebody who gets offended easily. Yeah. And it was just like, no, like that's not okay. And she's right. No, like
that Matt wears that shirt now.
Yeah, I did a bunch of CrossFit hand down shirts. Yeah. That's not okay. Yeah. Like that. And so I'd be curious what I think. No, exactly. We've talked about, I think we nailed what he's intending to say. Yeah. But I would, yeah.
And I will say too, I actually,
it's not my Instagram feed.
to my teens, I'll a lot of times what I'll say to them is, it's a shorter WOD. I'll say, you don't need water during this. And just like a tie back to like, you all play sports, if you're playing soccer, like there's gonna be a long stretch of time before you can actually stop and get a sip of water. So it's one of those, like, think about it like that. But but that's also like, I'm also not gonna like slap a water bottle out of your hand. But of course, I have to, like,
not your MO as a coach.
Yeah, I have sometimes, like, someone will stop and they'll walk over to the water fountain and get a sip of water. And I'm like, you don't need water. Just get back to your bar. Coach, I'm gonna die. if you're gonna die, okay.
It's okay. We have the AED now.
Water makes you weak. At least that's what my high school wrestling coach used to tell me. While I don't agree with that and think everyone should stay hydrated with plenty of high quality H2O, it's highly unlikely you need it during an 8-minute workout. Drink plenty of water before and after, and chances are
You'll be fine.
You'll survive. So cool.
It's just it's the remnant of sort of the 2005, 2006 CrossFit sort of that. And
if you ain't bleeding, you ain't trying.
Right. Like there's an audience for that and there's a place for it. It's in the same vein of the conversation of, I have a problem with the militarization of business and capitalism by, people who come out of those fields. And it would be sort of me bringing all of the aggressive male toxic sort of, alpha mentality to running this place to where there is no room for the exploration of the human aspect of the relationships that we build here, right? Like that would create a very specific niche that I feel in the long term is detrimental to the broader scope of what this whole endeavor, CrossFit and affiliates are trying to do.
Yeah.
So you can be honest and authentic and genuine with people and say to them, look, power output intensity is where you will get your results. Choosing to stop in the middle of the workout and take 45 seconds to drink about 2 ounces of liquid is not necessary. You are making a choice to rest longer because you went too heavy, went out too hard, did not listen to my pacing recommendation, and have yet to figure out what is the appropriate level of intensity for you as an athlete. Let's address that, not call you weak because you went to get water. That's sort of the...
It's okay to drink water during a long podcast, by the way.
That's my
2 cents.
Yeah, but that's my issue with getting comfortable or becoming habituated to defaulting to those types of statements. And so if I looked at it like the bigger picture of, I'm trying to develop a better habit for myself, I need to curate what I consume from language and the people around me. And if I allow people like that to be, if I allow statements like that to be okay in the majority of the interaction that I do with myself and people, and those that people that do with each other around, then I am allowing a bad habit to creep in. Because I will say that is hardwired into me since I was 18. And that's not okay. And so that's sort of me personally, where I recognize, like, I see what he's saying, I understand it. And hey, man, don't take it so seriously. Like, chill the fuck out. Like, I totally agree. But I also know
I would come at it from a different.
Because if left to my own devices, of course, that's what I'll default to. And then I'll have like no actual meaningful relationships with people because they're only surface and you never actually.
Other than fear.
Well, that is a very effective way to go through life, is either be fearful or be feared by people.
Or people fear how much they love you.
Ooh.
Michael Scott. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
Cool. Awesome. All right, good one.
Awesome. That was good.
Hopefully that was enjoyable.
Thank you, Jason. I'm excited to see. This one will definitely, like, a few months down the line. Let's see if I'm hoping he keeps going, because these are, like I said, they're really thought provoking. and
They're good
they can be very
conversation
emotional.
starters.
Yeah,
And and he puts his money legitimately. He puts
Yeah.
his money where his mouth is, because he's putting his sign, and that is his revenue stream, is his personality, and whatever. So yeah, I respect his ability to keep being genuine and authentic, and being like, hey, this is me, man.
Yeah.
So good on him.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Cool.
Thank you. Best hour of their day.
Yeah.
Your day.
Our
Their
day? My day. Wait, what?
Has to be your bowl.
Yeah.
Cool. Gratitude. Let's go.
Gratitude is three things, but they're all kind of tied together.
Okay.
One is Sally Bailey,
Sally Bailey.
and bringing her compressor and her nail gun
Word.
to let us use. She was 100% correct, by the way. Like, we did not have to pull those boards all the way off, reglue them, put them up. We just, I don't really believe in using nails to nail things up. I believe in using a lot of nails. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, either I broke it broke, I don't know, but the nail gun stopped working. We took it apart, took like 2 hours.
Shelly.
Yeah, it was Shelly's fault. The second she touched it, it broke. It did not. It just stopped shooting. I don't know what happened. Nothing was jammed in there. So yeah. So my second gratitude is Shelly and John. We're gonna get a nail gun anyway, and so Shelly sent John a little errand, got us a nail gun, brought it. And my third gratitude is that effing nail gun that we were able to use. So much fun.
Yeah.
So it all comes back to,
You're rolling, dude.
Yeah. So it all comes back to, Sally, you were 100% correct. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Viscerally rewarding. So cathartic.
Yeah.
And the boards are flat.
They're flat.
And they're not moving, baby.
Going nowhere.
So thanks,
Cool.
Sally. Great call. Super fun.
Yeah, mine same thing. Between Shelly, so Sally loaned us that up. Shelly, Soph, Nicole, and everyone's just kind of taking a few hours out of their Saturday to just kind of get that room done.
I love it in
the
there.
PT room, get that wall fixed, like little things that we've wanted to get done and kind of hanging.
Yeah.
Now they're done, and now it's on to the next thing. So yeah, it was awesome.
And
So,
a
yeah,
little this is like the end scene, the end credit scenes from every Marvel movie. I wish we could like put in some sort of graphic of people running on treadmills and riding bikes in an elevated mezzanine.
What are we calling it? The
cardio
deck.
The cardio deck.
Yeah, that's right.
Phase 3, folks.
Cardio deck.
It's coming in about 3 years.
3 years.
Cardio deck 2025.
Low trajectory to the horizon.
Maybe never.
Oh my gosh.
And massage chairs.
Now, if only we get a few more of those free air diets floating.
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. All right.
All righty. We will see you
On the creek. The second best hour of your day.